And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is a podcast for the website, the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Episode 305. I believe before this starts over, I'm going to stop the song. Yeah, I finally did it. I still don't have a soundboard for this stupid show, but man, it feels great to finally be able to not hear that song for 2 seconds at the end of when it starts over when I'm trying to talk. Welcome back. I just did LinkedIn logs. I have a sudden burst of energy, and here we are. Okay, welcome in. What's been going on in the past week? Did I talk about Borderlands last week? I don't know if I did. I saw Borderlands. Yeah, I mean I should have, right? Because I saw it last Tuesday. I specifically waited till that Tuesday because I didn't want to pay that much money to see that movie or to see any movie. I saw Borderlands. You know what? I'm gonna tell you right now. If you're looking for a bright action movie, that's what it is. There's a lot of mismatched things going on, and I feel like it's a little bit too condensed and frenetic for its own sake, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. I want to say I enjoyed it. Let's move on to Alien Romulus, though. Alien Romulus. Is it Alien Romulus or Alien first of all, I typed in Eileen. Alien Romulus. I was so excited to see this movie. I love the Aliens franchise, and I have no clue why I do. But I enjoy the Alien franchise. And, you better believe, when I got back home on Tuesday after seeing that movie, I came home, went to the Wikipedia. I wanted to see how it tied in. It is set between Alien and Aliens, which I did not know. Okay. Anyway, and then I started looking up stuff about Predator. Because apparently, even though the Alien versus Predator movies are not digestible, I'll say that much. I'm petting the dog. If you're watching the video, I'm petting the dog. He's standing right next to me. But and the cat's outside. She's doing her thing. It's a little chilly outside. Oddly enough, in August, it's not as hot. And and I decided to keep the door open, so she went outside. Anyway. The patio door, balcony door, whatever. Who cares? All right. But even though the Alien versus Predator movies are not digestible, at least to me, and I like trash. I just said I like the Borderlands movie. They're still considered a part of the same universe and everything. If it didn't work out, why would they continue? Anyway. So at some point, we're going to see another Alien versus Predator movie. But this one, Alien Romulus, I saw a trailer maybe a month ago for the first time. I don't think I'd ever seen a trailer, but I saw half because I stopped trailers halfway through. So I saw the trailer a month ago. I didn't know who was in it, and then I go to this movie. First of all, I got my bike back. If you don't know, I was hit by a car on July 4th, and my bike was destroyed, and I had to get stitches, whatever. And then finally, I told the Specialized to fix my bike. They fixed my bike, which is great, and they did it in a week. And now it's back and better than ever. One thing though, and I'll get back to Alien Romulus in a second. They replaced my road tires because it's a road bike, with all season tires. So they took my thin tires and replaced them with slightly thicker tires. So the bike's a little bit slower. And I could definitely feel it. And not like I'm speeding everywhere, but it's very interesting to have thicker tires. And also the bike that I was able to snag for free from Facebook Marketplace, that was a hybrid bike. And it was so great to be able to to go off road a little bit sometimes if I need to get around people who are walking on trails and things like that. it was so interesting because I could never do that with my bike. Like I could go off road for 2 seconds, but I have to look out for rocks and everything. I still have to look out for rocks. I still have to look for glass and everything. But yeah, I got that bike back. So I rode my bike over to see the movie. Brought my lunch, of course, obviously. Walked in there, paid $7 for this ticket, and I sat down. I was cutting it close for Borderlands. I walked in with maybe 10 seconds until the movie started, like truly 10 seconds. And then for Alien Romulus, I was there I was there about 2 minutes earlier than that. Anyway, Callie Spaney is the star of the movie. Again, I had no idea she was in it. Like truly, I saw half the trailer and I went, nope, gotta stop because I don't want to ruin this for myself. If you remember her, she's from Civil War, which is a movie I enjoyed. And a movie I'll probably never see again. There are those movies. I was thinking about this last night. I was as I was scrolling through movies to watch after I finished Evil, which ended its run on Paramount Plus, and I felt a little rushed. But I love that show. Everybody on that show did such a good job, and it's a shame it was canceled. But I'm glad that they were able to end it in the series. The Kings, Robert and Martha King, I think. They do great work, and they have fantastic shows, including The Good Wife, which is a show I started and did not finish. But you know what? I liked what I watched. But as I was scrolling through things to watch after Evil, I saw The Whale. I watched The Whale in theaters. I talked about it when it came out. I talked about how I brought a salad in there, and watching that man eat meatball subs and pizza and just like gorge himself made me sick. Truly, I had not felt like that in a movie in my entire life. But, The Whale, I enjoy that movie. I'll probably never watch it again. I enjoyed. So Civil War, I enjoyed. I'll probably never watch it again. Callie's joined by David Johnson, who did a fantastic job as her symbiote brother. Is that what is that what he is? An android. He's an android. Yeah. And then the rest of the people in this movie exist. There's so many times I jumped when I saw a xenomorph. Oh my gosh. This movie made me unsettled. Not in the same way that The Whale did. But man, I enjoyed Alien Romulus. I'll say it. There's not a terrible Alien movie. At least I don't think. Let me scroll through. Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection. Prometheus is great. I love Prometheus, and I love Alien Covenant. And there weren't many times. Actually, I don't even know if they even hearkened back to the original Alien. They did. And also, I'll say this: this one is a lot more freaky, and I venture to say action packed, but I don't want to say that. I don't want to put that. I'm looking at the timeline here, and wow, it's crazy. Prometheus is the first movie, and then Covenant obviously comes after that, and then Alien is the third one. Huh. Then Alien Isolation, and I'm skipping all of the short films that are available on the Alien Blu-ray. I have the collection, which only includes the mainline films and not the prequels, but also has all the short films. Then Alien 3 comes, wow, pretty late. And then Resurrection is obviously the last one. Cool. All right, well, we've talked enough. Hey, speaking of Borderlands, this comes from IGN, written by Wesley Yin Poole. With Borderlands 4 set to ditch Epic exclusivity, Randy Pitchford addresses 5-year prediction that Steam would become a dying store. So if you don't know who Randy Pitchford is, I would say he's a loudmouth CEO, but and I don't know if he's a good guy anymore. But there were a couple. So this week is Gamescom week, which is a German gaming expo where Xbox and other companies go. I don't think Sony has ever gone, and I don't think Nintendo went this year, but they go there to announce games. It's like E3 but in Germany. Gearbox chief Randy Pitchford years ago said that Steam, quote, may look like a dying store in the future with, quote, other competitive stores to will be the place to be. If you don't know, Epic Games Store is I think Gearbox owns Epic Games Store, which is, Fortnite. Gearbox is also Fortnite, all that stuff. It's an alternative game store to buy games for your PC. However, in the same vein as the Ubisoft store, as Origin for EA, as Steam is for Steam, you have to, when you buy games on that store, you have to use their launcher. You can't, with the exception of GOG, which is Good Old Games, I guess, I think, all of that DRM is tied to those stores. So you have to use the launcher if you buy the game via the stores. And in the same idea for Ubisoft and for Origin, those are Ubisoft and EA respectively. So you have to play, no matter where you bought those games, you have to use that launcher. I do believe that is still the case. So if you want to play Assassin's Creed, you have to use the Ubisoft launcher, which is not very good. And then for Blizzard, I think that's the same thing. If you play Diablo 4 or Diablo 3, you have to launch it there. Anyway, PC gaming is so much. There's so much work and so much effort. So Randy Pitchford said, and I guess this is like kind of a bullheaded thing to say, but Steam may look like a dying store. And Epic Games has had, fights with Google, fights with Apple, and lost fights with, a couple of companies. I think that it was a bold thing to say, and if anything, short-sighted, because Steam has so much clout and so much of a grip within the PC gaming community. I would rather go to have a game on Steam and have it with everything else as opposed to go to Epic. But Epic does give away a lot of games. And also, if a game is on sale at Epic, then, you just probably get it there. Borderlands 3 launched on the Epic Games Store on PC exclusively. So it was on the consoles, but if you wanted to buy it on PC, you had to buy it through Epic Games Store, which annoyed a lot of people. 2 years later, documents made available as part of Epic's high-profile lawsuit with Apple revealed Epic paid Borderlands 3 publisher 2K $146 million upfront to sell the game for PC exclusively through the Epic Games Store. I know I have Borderlands 3 through Epic, but I think it was given away. Now, Borderlands 4 is going to be releasing on Steam as well. Because why hold yourself? Why hold yourself to one store? The game didn't sell that well up top, which is what's very important. Now, responding, Pitchford tweeted to say that Epic had not pressed its advantage in the PC battle with Valve, something he called a shame. He said, "I'm a Steam customer, but sure wish they had more and better competition that was more favorable to artists, designers, and creators than the retailer. I will continue to support competitors to Steam and also support Steam." That's a good way to say it. He said he's less anti-Steam and more pro-competition. I think if that's what you meant originally, that's what you should say. It's when you look at companies like Netflix, that let's just go with the streaming analogy. Netflix is doing far and above better than something like, I don't know, Paramount Plus. I don't want to continue picking on Paramount because I think I did that in LinkedIn logs. But it's doing way better compared to that. And to say if current owner Sherry Redstone or future owner David Ellison of Paramount Plus came out and said it's not fair that Netflix has more subscribers and gets better shows and better movies. I'm kind of breaking the analogy here, but it is more in a way, at that point, your fault. the exclusives that they have are the thing that people are drawn to, and they already have that foothold. You can't be a new streaming company. I can't make a Quibi and come out and say, oh, it's not fair that people are going over to them, and I'm going to launch this show that everybody wants, but nobody can really get access to. I know I muddled it up, but you get it. Pitchford said, it's frustrating how much Steam takes given what they provide. I will happily support competitive platforms that are more favorable to artists. I already said that. Did I read that? Where? They wrote that twice in this article? Ugh, good Lord. Where's the editor when you need it? They wrote there's another quote that's double quoted in here too. Valve, like Apple, takes a huge and Google, I'll say that as well, takes a huge cut of things they sell in their store because they can, because they have that foothold. People can say, yes, I wish. If you look at Spotify takes a lot of money from artists, and it's like truly artists, even Taylor Swift will get pennies for songs that are so popular. And, Apple takes, I think, like 30 or 40%, something like that. And Google takes the same amount as Apple does. If there were more competition, if there were more ways, I can go to isthereanydeal.com, which is a great congregation website that links up to every single PC game store there is. And it will tell you, Hogwarts Legacy is at its cheapest for $20.77 on Game Billet. And what's going on? And then Ghost Runner 2 is the same as $12.37 on Game Billet. And then you can go even lower. You can go even deeper, rather. I can click on Pac-Man World Repack. I'm just giving you guys... I'm giving listeners a peek into what I want to buy. I'm hoping that Hogwarts Legacy is free one day so that I don't have to give J.K. Rowling money. Because I don't steal games. But I don't want to give that horrible person money. And then I can go deeper into Is There Any Deal and see, it's the game unlocks on Steam, because that's one of my requirements. There you go. And then I can find it on the Win Game Store or Noctree or Newegg or Humble or DL Gamer or Fanatical, Pac-Man World Repack, and I can see where it's been cheaper and all this stuff, and that's I think that's a great way to fight competition, or to find competition rather, because if I can get it cheaper on Game Billet, I'll buy it there. That's where this week, I'll tell you this much, I just bought Digimon Cyber Sleuth Special Edition, a game. I don't know if I'll ever play it, but I love Digimon. And I know it's an RPG, it's a JRPG, and I can play it on my Steam Deck. I can play it on the Mac, and I'm gonna at least enjoy the first 10 minutes or so. I don't have time for JRPG. I still have to beat Persona 5 Royal. It's my favorite game. I love that game. But there's, I see what Randy's getting at, and the way he went about it was, especially 5 years ago, was just not what should have been done. And also, he's not even the owner of Epic. He's the owner of Gearbox. But if you really believed in a product, it should have been a timed exclusivity, first of all. It ultimately was a timed exclusivity, but to really put much emphasis on a fledgling game store, that fledgling is that, because fledgling's a Pokemon, but to put much emphasis on a game store that doesn't have as much of ties to the industry, is compared to the biggest PC game seller, and I would probably even say the biggest the biggest game marketplace there is. It's just kind of stupid in the end. Steam platform fees are typically at 30%. Meanwhile, Epic Stores remains unprofitable, by Epic's own admission. Epic boss Tim Sweeney is a vocal opponent of Steam. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is a twofer. Why is it not clicking through? I swear on my life. Chad. Oh my goodness. I don't even remember where this came from. TNT CW show. So TNT, as we know, has decided to, as a part of Warner Bros. Discovery's big plans, they canceled all of their original scripted series, and now it seems as though that it is changing its idea of what's going to happen. Now this comes from Variety, written by Joe Otterson. Librarians, the next chapter moves to TNT from the CW. Again, what we know about the CW is it was just purchased by Nexstar, and they just canceled all of their shows, mostly all their shows, with the exception of like All American, I think a spinoff of that show or the original show, I don't remember, and one or two other shows, but they canceled truly everything else. This show, which was a spinoff of a show called The Librarians Next Chapter, I'm guessing. I'm not good at math, but I know The Librarians, a show I've never seen a second of, and I know that this is a spinoff without even having to look in the article. God, I haven't read this. No, I haven't read this. But the CW, in an effort to save money, is going to be producing sports, obviously, and cheap reality shows. So they have like cheap comedy shows, cheap reality shows, and they'll have some scripted shows as well. Librarians Next Chapter was going to air on the CW this fall, so the show's been made. But last week, the CW pulled it from its schedule. Now the Wall Street Journal, that's where I linked to. Oh my goodness. I was trying to figure out which story I was linking to. So now let's move over. Joe Flint wrote this for the Wall Street Journal. Warner gave up on new TNT dramas, and now it's trying to revive them. I'm sorry, Variety. I did jump ship. The company has begun working on beefing up original programming for its TNT cable network, people familiar with the matter said, which will involve an increase in spending. I'm guessing this is after it lost the rights for the NBA games. That's now a no-go. They're no longer doing NBA games. This next season will be the TNT's last season. We'll probably see inside the NBA fold in some way. And of course, that really hurts their streaming efforts, especially because a judge, I believe last week I did this story, they blocked the launch of the Venu Sports venture that it has with Fox and Disney because Fubo TV sued them and said it was it would ruin competition, and that it would, the judge said, and said Venu cannot launch this September, which was supposed to be what happened, which is the start of the football season. You got some basketball going on, into baseball. I mean, come on, man. It truly just puts a block in its heels. So now Warner is doing an about face on this idea that TNT does not need scripted shows. Because what is a network that was reliant on three things? Live sports, live basketball, but now hockey. Live sports, reruns of Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Marvel movies, DC movies, and shows like Rizzoli and Isles, I guess. Not Suits. Suits is USA, right? I don't remember. I think so. Again, not good at math. So if it can't have the first two, if it can't have the first one, then hey, let's lean in heavily to the second two. Shows in the works for 2025 and beyond include what one executive described as, quote, high adrenaline dramas that will play well with the channel's male audience and be a good fit for the network's sports programming. And people will say diving right back into cable is bad. This will help them. This will help them, even if just a monochrome. It will help them a little bit because they need it. Trust me. I say everybody needs it. You can't produce everything for streaming because that'll lead to Netflix, and Netflix is willing to cancel shows left and right. If you produce something for cable, you can give it less money, but it could have a potential of an audience that will grow, A, on cable, B, on streaming, and C, from small to medium, and maybe even big. The network is also planning to raid the Warner Bros. Movie library to reboot several films into made-for-TV movies or series for TNT. There is a I was on Wikipedia a couple weeks ago, and I was looking up TNT shows. I'm such a boring person, but I saw that they did TNT miniseries about, oh my gosh, like a whole different thing, a whole different thing. Let me see. Hold on. There's like pro wrestling movie presentations. What is this? Monster Vision. I don't know what that is. They did miniseries about so many different things, and I thought it was so interesting. And there was one that was big to them, or maybe it was USA, but it was like a golden TNT. Indiana Jones? Was that it? Indiana Jones. So I typed in India Jones. There was something that they did. Oh, there it is. It was called Librarian Trilogy. Librarian Trilogy. That's what it is. Oh my gosh. Librarian Trilogy. Librarian Trilogy. Yeah, The Librarian. That's what it was. Very funny. Oh, and it's the same thing with The Librarian's next chapter. Yeah, okay. So The Librarian, it's cyclical, baby. So Librarian, they had 3 different movies before the original show, The Librarians, in 2014, and this new thing called The Librarians, the next chapter in 2024. There were 3 movies called The Librarian Quest for the Spear, Librarian Return to King Solomon's Mines, and The Librarian Curse of the Judas Chalice, airing between 2004 and 2008. And then they made these spin-off TV shows. That's crazy that it all came up at the same time. Wow. Now TNT has to, there's fallout from the sports thing. They're doing these miniseries, doing more shows and movies and things. TNT's deals with Comcast, they also have to talk with distributors, with Comcast and Charter Communications will come up for renewal in the next few years. How those talks will go will have significant effect on the channel's futures. Channing Dungey has recently been put in charge of the cable networks. She, if you might know her from, I believe, previously working at Warner Bros. Discovery. But she took over this job. Nearly a year ago, Charter won concessions from Disney that allowed it to provide the ad-supported versions of Disney Plus and ESPN Plus to some of its pay TV subscribers at no extra cost. Also, additionally, I want to add on this. Nelly Andriva writes for Deadline that TNT greenlights CIA miniseries as Network Eye's potential scripted ramp up post write down and restructuring. So there's more coming. I know for whatever it's worth. I know that I understand the reason why all these companies said or have this idea that cable's dying and they want to turn to streaming because that is the thing that's more profitable. But none of the streaming platforms, save for Spotify and Disney Plus and Netflix, have been able to turn a profit. I it's I get the reason why they do the pivot, but if anything, if I'm Paramount, if I'm AMC, and that's what I think AMC is doing it better. I think AMC with their streaming platform is doing it better. If I'm Paramount, if I'm Warner Brothers, if I'm Disney, I would go, let's focus on streaming. Let's put a lot more effort into streaming, but let's not forget what's going on with cable. Just because the providers are losing subscribers doesn't mean that audience is gone. It doesn't mean that a similar type of audience can't be found on streaming. It's if every show is made for streaming and given a wildly huge budget or nothing at all, then you lose what a cable show is able to provide. I mean, look at Yellowstone. Yellowstone became a phenomenon in the years that it was on television, and the year that it'll come back, which is this year, I believe. And then it spawned 2 streaming only shows. 3. Excuse me, I'm forgetting Bass Reeves. So it spawned 3 streaming only shows, including Bass Reeves, Lawman Bass Reeves, which is, I guess, an anthology series, 1923 and 1894. That's the one I watched. I still haven't seen 1923. 1919? And it's gonna have more spinoffs. That's what you can do if you are able to give. And Sheridan and Taylor Sheridan is working with Paramount, with Paramount, and giving them other shows as well, and like Tulsa King, which is a fantastic show. And if you work on that, if you were an extra on that show, you might be called ugly and fat by Sylvester Stallone. He said that. It's crazy. He didn't say that, but it was proven. And ugly and fat. But there is still some type of magic that can be done. I would say Disney is doing it right because they just launched Primos. They just launched other shows. Gravity Falls does well in streaming. They're going to return to that. Look at a section of Warner Brothers, which is Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. A lot of those shows, Smiling Friends is a show that has done extremely well for Adult Swim. Craig of the Creek was able to get a movie. I think they're doing that for everybody. For Cartoon Network. And then even still, you can go to other companies and say, look, we have this IP that's been around for decades, and you can make something with it, or we'll make it and then we'll put it out on your platform for a timed exclusive. Let's get back to that. And I'm referencing in that vein, actually, I gotta stop saying that. I'm referencing the Sandy Cheeks movie, which is a spinoff of SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes, it's starring Sandy Cheeks and SpongeBob, and it's a feature-length film on Netflix. And at some point, it's going to make its way over to Paramount Plus. But right now, it was the number 1 movie on Netflix for the 2 or 3 weeks until the next thing came out, and it's still charting. But people, obviously, if they can recognize and say, hey, I like Batman I like Batman. I like to watch the Batman cartoons. They have Batman Cape Crusader on Amazon Prime. It was supposed to be on Max, but it's on Amazon Prime. I want to watch that. And you know what? It does well. People love that, obviously. And then you can look at broadcasting, and things still do well. Fox Broadcasting was so proud and so happy of what was happening with Crapopolis before it premiered that it got another, before it even was finished being made. It picked up another season, and then it picked up another season, and it has 3 seasons under its belt in the middle of season 1. These things can still happen. You just, as a company, have to be willing to take the hits and say, you know what, we don't have an audience now, but hopefully it'll find something on streaming. Hopefully it'll find, because it's airing next day on Hulu, or we're going to put it on the platform in 6 months when it's done. Be confident in that. All right, I'm done. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. You can, watch a video version of this show on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. You can watch video versions of the other shows. LinkedIn Logs, which is the Jobs podcast, and Late Night Lately, which is a late night show. Subscribe to those wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at C Plus Comedy. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Blackwhite. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. I'm not going to say it yet. Now I say it. Goodbye.